This last Sunday, I was able to actually go to a gem show put on by the Contra Costa Gem and Mineral Society, which is a rare treat because usually I'm coaching soccer and have kids' things going on. I've never been to a gem show, and there was a couple of fun things that happened. I was able to talk to a guy that was faceting some gems. I was able to talk to a guy that was doing some lapidary work on some cabochons. Generally speaking, this part of the show where they were selling things was pretty much what I expected. Lots of crystals and jewelry at retail prices. But then they're just displays, there was one that really caught my attention that was a lot of fun. I'll show you that right now. This is all rocks. There's bacon rock and cake rock, and I don't know what that was supposed to be. Potatoes, cheese, peas and carrots. That's creative. When all was said and done, my wife and kids picked up a few things from this main room, but I was kind of more interested in what the Gem Society was selling themselves, some rough material that I can stick in my saw. And this is one of the things that we picked up. I think the members of the society were kind of auctioning and selling off a lot of the bulk material that they picked up on probably their field trips, but they were selling these 5-gallon planters filled with whatever, and you weren't really allowed to look inside except what was on top. They had been listed at $10 and then crossed out in $5 because it was Sunday, the last part of the show, and there was maybe 10 buckets left. So my daughter picked out the biggest one for $5. How could we pass up? I've already looked through it, but I just kind of wanted to show you how it was sold. So it was the funniest thing. So the first thing is, I think this is like that picture stone. The inside, I think, is just like tan, so probably have to break it open or cut it to find out if there's any of that neat picturing inside. Otherwise it's just a hunk of sandstone. Maybe I wouldn't even break it in. I'll have to research whether it's okay to put in a fish tank. That would look really cool. But then there was some other really neat stuff like this agate. White, that part's not super amazing, but there's some kind of swirly stuff in here. And then on this side, there's some different colors. So this one will be worth cutting open just to see. Interesting greens in there, moss agate stuff. Then we start to get to the bulk local material. So this is a banded obsidian. It's kind of a gray color. My dog is jumping on me. So let me pause there and get everything out and I'll show you. Most of it at the bottom was just chunks of obsidian. So here in California, there's a lot of obsidian beds, and Northern California, there's a few that are kind of closer to civilization that you're paid to dig, but there's also one very remote national forest dig site. So my guess is that the society members, the club members probably took a field trip up there at some point, and they probably just brought back, pounds and pounds of it and didn't know what to do with it. So then they sell it off at these shows to raise money. I kind of particularly like this one because this looks like it was broken, but then maybe tumbled in a river. Like this is very smooth, but there's this part right here is not sharp. Like the edge is rounded over, or maybe it formed that way in a pocket, like a gas bubble. So this one is actually, I love that color. I like obsidian a lot, even though there's not a whole lot you can do with it except just look at it, maybe polish it or something into little stones. But a lot of that. And then there's a couple of these little agate nodules, probably river stones. This one is very translucent. Probably just clear white quartz on the inside, but pretty neat just the same. So it's all this kind of like marginal stuff that people rock counted and collected. Supposedly there's a petrified forest bed that they know about that one of the people was telling me about. I did pick up a piece of that. Let me go grab that and show you. Here's a piece of petrified wood that I got for, I think, $2. That was separate from that bucket. Again, just bulk material. I asked the guy where they picked it up. They couldn't really remember. So maybe somebody grabbed it out of the desert or... I think I might cut the end off and polish it, or maybe make some cabs or something. I don't know. This one looked like it was promising with some color. For $2, why not? Yeah, so this gem show ended up being fun for that particular reason. Here's another nodule. I think this is maybe rhyolite. Let's see. This part down here has some kind of like pockets, filled in pockets over here. So that might look neat if cutting it through. Lots of fun. And then let me show you one last thing. These two actually came from a silent auction the way I picked this up, right? So they bulk material, they put it out and had these like 15-minute little auctions. So my wife and daughter actually picked these two up. As you can tell, these are thunder eggs. This one was cut open. I think she got it for a couple bucks. I don't know, not too much. Not spectacular inside, but this banding is kind of neat. But then they picked this other one up that's cracked and hasn't been cut yet, has a neat pattern on the inside. So definitely worth cutting to see if there's any sort of color in this part. I don't think thunder eggs have too much color, but usually there's like on the edge of the host and the interior, there's usually a little bit of something going on. So this one will be fun to get onto the saw just to see, cut a thunder egg, right, to add to my checklist of things I'm cutting. So thunder egg, petrified wood are going to be coming up next. So this is a quick little update. What I did this last weekend, not a ton of cutting or lapidary, but buying some bulk material to add to my collection of bulk material that I'm going to be cutting and playing with.